Hi, I'm Leah Stauffer. I'm the founder and executive director of the 500,000 Kids Foundation, and this is the 500,000 Kids podcast. Today's for all you first timers to hear what we're up to and what we're all about. So I'm going to start with what's possible. So I'm going to share with you, what if you could be part of eradicating something big? What if 500,000 kids in the U.S. could grow up in an incredible family and amazing environments instead of in a government-run system? What if we included these kids as part of our society versus ignoring them, or worse, never even bothering to know they exist at all? What if we began with a pilot program in the Philadelphia region to bring attention to the fact that there are 1,600 kids in foster care right now in the Philadelphia region? And what if we found 1,600 loving families to adopt these 1,600 kids? What if the success of this local initiative, coupled with the documentary film that captured the process for achieving it and a how-to guide, generated a national model for every community in the U.S. to give all children a family and a stable home? What if we transform the lives of 500,000 kids and unlock their potential to have healthy, productive lives and contribute to society in meaningful ways? What if all of this came true? What then would be possible? It is possible. And that is why we founded the 500,000 Kids Foundation and this whole movement and mission that we're on. I'm adopted, and I'm really, really blessed and lucky that at 3 months, I was adopted through Catholic Charity Services. And I didn't so much think of it growing up, but as an adult and getting more in tune with this subject of adoption and foster care and all of it, I sometimes wondered what would the trajectory of my life had been if I had not been adopted. And I grew up in a government-run system where I was either in a group home setting, living with 25 other girls or however many, or I was shuffled home to home because I never got adopted. Would I be the person I am today, where I feel very in touch with all of my human potential, all of my gifts? Because I had the safety and security growing up. You know, I had meals on the table. I had love from my parents. I had support. So without some of those things and not knowing if anybody even cares, how does that change someone's life, the trajectory of their life? And I started thinking about famous people that are also adopted and what would the trajectory of their life had been. For example, Steve Jobs. Would we even have all of our devices in the way we have them today? I mean, we might, because, our human potential and our human genius is within us. But, if we don't have our basic needs met, sometimes it goes to waste. And there are 500,000 kids in the United States of America that are being raised in a government system. And I could almost cry because it's just so not okay on any level. 500,000 kids not being cared for. I mean, they're being cared for by the system and a government, but would you like to be raised in a government-run system? I don't think so. I mean, the beauty and the support of having a family is a really important thing. And it doesn't have to be even a 2-person family. I mean, a family can be, a single parent. It can be a lot of different things, but I'm pretty certain that some of the results coming out of the foster care system, a large percentage of kids come out and end up incarcerated, teenage pregnancy, homelessness. There's a lot of social ills that happen, not to mention what that does to the human potential of that person. But what would be possible if that child was raised in a safe, supportive, loving environment? And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of kids in foster care that come out with PhDs and honor students and amazing careers too. Just look around. There's like professional people. There's a lot of people who were raised. There's celebrities. There's athletes. There's a lot of people, if you look around, who were either raised in the system or were adopted at some point later that are living amazing, productive, wonderful lives. But my belief, and hence the foundation's belief and the whole team that's signed on to make this happen, our belief is like every child really deserves that. And, there's a lot of pockets of our population, whether it's homeless or kids where there's, they don't have enough food, there's poverty, there's a lot of things going on with the educational. There's a lot of issues related to kids. But this is a very specific group of kids. It's a very defined part of our population, and hence lies the opportunity, and hence there lies the possibility. Because it's such a defined population, we're not talking about transforming the educational system, which seems, from where I sit, like a daunting task and like an endless sort of confusion, right? We're talking about 500,000 kids. Of those 500,000 kids, 120,000 approximate are available for adoption today, right? And so, of course, there's new kids coming out and other kids leaving the system, but that number's been pretty much that number for several years looking back. So if you have 120,000 kids available for adoption, what that means is the parental rights have been terminated, meaning they're never going back to their family. Court mandated. The parents have, it's been messed up to the point, or maybe the parents died, or there's a whole host of reasons, but through no fault of their own, these kids are now stuck in no man's land, foster care. And the 120,000 that are available for adoption, I just started to look around. I'm like, well, why aren't they adopted? And a friend suggested I do a documentary film because I have that background. And why don't you do a documentary film to raise awareness? Because I would talk to friends and anyone I could, and no one seemed to be aware of these kids. And I'm like, okay, there's a real lack of awareness. And then I would see commercials for pet adoption, or Africa and Asia, and not pet adoption, but like human trafficking or climate. I'd see things on climate change. I'd see things on helping women in Africa. And these are all amazing, worthwhile endeavors. But I wasn't seeing much on these kids. Here and there, but not enough to really get 120,000 kids adopted. And so the more I embarked on the documentary film and started interviewing, heads of different agencies and social workers and families and kids, and the more information I got, it was a recurring theme of where the gaps were. And the gaps showed up as there was not enough money being devoted to straight up recruitment of families. And people weren't aware. I mean, that was obvious to me. So I started researching and investigating further. And, I came to realize, for example, one agency, their budget for the year, budget to recruit families, $2,500. I'm like, I know people that spend $2,500 in a weekend, for fun, or, a 3-day trip or something. That's their budget for the year for that particular organization to recruit families for kids. And their caseload was over 400 kids. Like, it made no sense to me. I also went to something called a match party. There were 18 kids there. It was for prospective families who are interested in adopting. And 5 families came. There were supposed to be 10, 5 showed up. So I started doing the math. Like, 18 kids, 5 families. These numbers don't work. As I started to ask the people who ran that event, why are there only 5 families here? It's a lack of funding. So there's a gap with the amount of money coming into the system. And then there was a real lack of, through no fault of the agencies, but a lack of focus on recruiting families. I mean, they want to recruit families, but they're also dealing with the conditions on the ground, which are kids are coming into the system at a rapid rate. Kids are in need. So they have to deal with what's in front of them. So they're dealing with a child who just came into the system, or they're dealing with the caseload of, 20 kids that they need to find homes for. So they don't really have, it shouldn't be a luxury, but it's like they don't have the luxury to recruit families because they're trying to actually take care of the kids. So I could see that it's not that their heart isn't in the right place, and it's not that they don't know they need to recruit families. It's just there's only so many hours in the day. So what do you do? Of course, you have to take care of the child that's in front of you that, needs somewhere to sleep that night, right? So I could see the main gaps in the system were lack of money to do a proper awareness and recruitment campaign. It showed up across every interview, every agency, every family I talked to. It was just so clear. It became like common sense. And then I did further research, over the years, and it backed it up. So the bottom line on the foundation and our mission and what we're doing is we basically are going for a straight up awareness and recruitment campaign. And we are going to feed into the system interested families who might be open to adopting, or individuals who would be open to adopting. So our whole foundation, our work is all around getting that mass awareness out. And one of the ways we're breaking it down, because the whole country, to tackle it all at once is, that's one way to do it. But the way we're approaching it is we're doing a pilot program in Philadelphia and the surrounding suburbs. There's 5 counties: Philadelphia, Chester, Montgomery, Bucks, and Delaware County. And there's 1,600 kids approximate available for adoption in the Philadelphia region. So what we're doing is we're going to pilot our awareness and recruitment campaign. And over the next several years, we're going to find enough families for 1,600 kids. And we're going to hopefully supplement and let the agencies do what they do really well, which is, the clearances and the matching and all of that. But we're going to supply them with a larger pool. So that match party might have, 300 people at it instead of 5 families. Now, some people, the doubters, maybe you're one of the doubters. I don't know if you're about the possibility or if you're about the doubt. But if you're a doubter, I just want to challenge you to the next concert or sporting event or even the mall. I mean, anywhere you go where there's a lot of people. But let's just break it down to an arena. If you go to a football game, or I can speak to the Philadelphia Eagles and Lincoln Financial Field, and I'm at a game and I look around and there's 70,000 people. 70,000 people just at an Eagles game. That's not even the whole population, right? And I thought, how is it in the whole Philadelphia region we can't have 1,600 families? So I want you to do the math. Like, that's just an Eagles game. So if you look at Philadelphia region has 1.5 million households, and we can't find 1,600 families? I don't believe that. I mean, and I certainly don't believe it when we haven't even really tried in a very focused, targeted way with the right amount of money to do a real awareness campaign, a real recruitment campaign, a real social media campaign. The way people go and do ad campaigns for pharmaceuticals or car insurance or any other commercial you see on TV or ad campaign you see where it's bringing mass awareness to any cause. That has not been done for these kids. You cannot point to a mass awareness and recruitment campaign on behalf of these kids. You can point to PSA, public service announcements. You can point to a commercial here and there. And we have statistics on how they did, which actually point to doing more of that, doing more of a real campaign. So the good news is, there's actually a lot of good news, strangely. This is the nice thing about this project and this endeavor and our focus, and why I really believe fully we're going to actually do everything we're setting out to do. And why I believe that is because it's actually good news that we only need 1,600 families in the Philadelphia region when there's 1.5 million households. It would be less favorable if we needed 50% of the households in the Philadelphia region to adopt. That might be more difficult. But we're talking about 1% of the population when you look at the whole country. It's actually a friend who's in actuarials and insurance ran the numbers for me. When you look at the whole country, it's 0.1% of the entire population that needs to be willing to adopt. So since we haven't really tried, I can't imagine we can't get that done together. So the foundation and our mission is all around awareness and recruitment. And the ways we're going to do that are through an ad campaign and through social media engagement and mobilization. And so we need anybody where this possibility resonates with you. You can do so much to help, whether you're interested in adopting or whether you just believe it's possible because there actually are enough families. You could become a social media advocate. You can be helping us with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and that whole social media world of getting the word out. There's a lot of things on our website that you'll find where you can participate and be part of this solution and making a real difference for these kids. Because imagine how we will feel as a population when 1,600 kids got placed in Philly, and then we did a national launch. And because we documented what we did in Philly, leaders, amazing people from communities all over this country said, oh, I want to do that in my city. And we had a replicable model that we created of what we had done in Philly. And so you have the whole country with amazing people implementing what we did in Philly. And together as a people, with your help, we all get to say we were part of eradicating kids that are available for adoption no longer need to grow up in a government-run system. And then, you're left with the kids that truly are coming into foster care because they are in an emergency situation or because they're waiting for their parents to get their act together. And so they really, truly are in foster care for its original intent of a safety net. And when social workers have less of a huge caseload, so instead of 20 kids, what if they had 10 kids? Then they might have more bandwidth to work with families in a more preventative role of slowing down the pace at which kids come into the system. So if you were to go on our website, you would see that's part of phase 2. And phase 3 of our plan relates to having the kids that do remain in foster care living in an amazing home collegiate environment while they await the reunification with their family. Or they may end up in foster care for years and years and years. And so why can't we give them the best opportunity possible to succeed? Because what I didn't say is right now, a lot of times they're living in like a 1950s type environment. Sometimes they don't even have the internet. Sometimes they don't even have cable TV. Not that those are the end all be all, but it is how our society is. It does function and communicate, and to not let them have that connection of the normalcy of what goes on in society is also, it's like a complete travesty. I hate to be dramatic, but it really is. It's like so not okay on any level. So I hope that you will take some time and check out our whole mission on the website so you can see what we're up to. And I would love to have your involvement. So get on our mailing list, check off what you're interested in doing to help. It's going to take everyone deciding together that this is not okay. And we get to be the voice for these kids, and we get to make a difference for them. So That's what we're up to. And it is possible. It's all about the possibility. So look towards the possibility, not doubt and not objections and not every reason why it won't work. We're clear on that. The system's been operating on all the reasons why it won't work. We're going to spend a little bit of time on why it will work. So I hope you're going to join us. Thank you for tuning in to the 500,000 Kids podcast. And please join us at 500,000kids.org or .com.